Good afternoon everyone. I am starting this vlog in this room, which I never normally film in this room, but actually like I'm very much enjoying the light in here. I don't know why I don't sit in here more often and film, but here we are. This is going to be my pregnancy Q&A. I really enjoyed watching pregnancy Q&As when I was first pregnant, when I first found out. But I need to do one of these. I need to do one for my girlies. So I put a question box on my Instagram and I got inundated with lots of really good questions. So I thought I would sit and answer them for you all now. So grab yourselves a cup of tea, a coffee, get cozy, get comfy. Obviously, if you are not into pregnancy and you are not bothered about this video, I will not be offended if you click off it now, because we are going to be talking all things pregnancy related. Sorry, I'm glowing today. I don't mean to big myself up, but my skin, guys, I'm absolutely feeling myself today. I have basically picked out the questions that were asked the most, as I normally do, and I have quite a few here to get through, so I'm going to try not waffle, because you guys know how I love to waffle and go off on a tangent, so I might have to stop myself a couple of times from doing that. But here we go. The first question, and the question that was probably asked the most, is were you trying to conceive? If so, how long did it take? And the answer is yes. We were trying to conceive. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't a surprise. We were trying to conceive for about a whole year, literally a year to the month, and that wasn't being super strict with it. Like, I had tracked my ovulation using natural cycles, and I had been kind of off contraception for a long time. And then I started taking vitamins and stuff. We were definitely trying to conceive. However, it weirdly got to the point where nothing was happening. And it was like spring last year. No, spring this year. And I basically said to Jordan, I was like, look, shall we just kind of like, we've got weddings, hen dos, we've got so much coming up. Should we just leave this now for like till September or whatever, or start again in August? And he was like, okay, fine. And then the moment like we had decided not to bother really, and I wasn't really thinking about getting pregnant, was the month it happened. Whether that has anything to do with conceiving or not, I do not know. I did kind of always think that for some weird reason I didn't think it would take me a whole year, which I don't know why I didn't think that, because it does. You know, it takes people longer than a year. It takes people sometimes on their first go. So I was a bit like, oh, okay, maybe, I don't know, all these things were going around in my head. Each month there was like when I'd get my period, there was like a sense of disappointment. So I then became a bit consumed by pregnancy, and like kind of like was watching all these YouTube videos, was, you know, Googling, researching stuff. And I think I got in my own head a bit, and the moment I relaxed about it all and kind of forgot about it is when it happened. Which kind of leads me on to my next question, which is trying to conceive tips. Now, I am no doctor, I am no fertility specialist, I am no anything, so please take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt. This is not medical advice, this is just me being so honest with you guys and telling you kind of like exactly what I did and what I think personally helped me get pregnant. So first things first was like I said, relaxed. I tried not to consume my brain with pregnancy and getting pregnant, and yeah, I kind of just like stopped watching YouTube videos and things on like fertility doctors, which are amazing, by the way. They are so informative. If any of you are looking to conceive, there's this really good fertility doctor. She's American. I'll put her name on the screen now, actually. She's amazing. Her videos are so good, and they're really like, it's basically like a free fertility thing on YouTube. It's amazing. It's like she tells you all the things that you need to know. She's a fertility doctor out in America. So yeah, she was really good. Actually, I really enjoyed watching her videos. What I did start taking was vitamin D and methylfolate, not folic acid. Folic acid is something that a lot of women take, that a lot of doctors and people say to take, but I take methylfolate, which is this one here, and basically is a purer form, I believe, don't fact check me on this, of folic acid. So this is meant to be better for you than folic acid. So if you're currently trying to conceive and you're taking folic acid, I would look into trying to take methylfolate. So have a look at this, have a look into it, and maybe swap and start taking these. These are the Fawn ones. I probably took them around 3 months before, maybe 2 months before I actually did conceive. So whether these had something to do with it, I'll never know, including vitamin D as well. I think vitamin D and conceiving is such a big thing. Like, I remember the month I was ovulating and I conceived was, I had just got back from Marrakesh, where I had been in the sunshine whilst taking also my supplements. I wasn't drinking either. I hadn't drunk for 5 days. Like, I hadn't drunk that whole trip either. Whether that had something to do with it, I don't really know. You know, I doubt not drinking on a, you know, trip. I don't know if alcohol has a huge impact on it. It depends, I guess, how much you drink. But anyway, yeah, I had just got back from being obviously in the sun, and I do think there is a big correlation with vitamin D and getting pregnant. This is just my personal opinion. I know so many people that get pregnant on holiday or on their honeymoons, and especially in this country where it's not often we see sunshine, especially from, let's say, October to March, February, March. I think I'm very, very deficient in vitamin D. So I do think that taking vitamin D supplements and going on holiday, it is a good excuse. So everyone watching this, tell your husbands now. Emily Blackwell says if we're going to make a baby and we're going to get pregnant, she recommends booking a trip to the Maldives. I'm joking, but I mean, if you want to use that as an excuse, then give it a go. But you know, it does explain why a lot of people get pregnant on their honeymoons. A lot of people do fall pregnant on holiday, and I think it is massively to do with relaxing and also having vitamin D on your skin. Like, that is just, I could be so wrong, don't, you know, arrest me if I am, but I have a big feeling that that has, yeah, a big impact. So yeah, book a holiday is another tip. Try not let it consume your brain, which is so much easier said than done. Take your vitamins, balanced lifestyle, try not to stress about things too much. And yeah, track your ovulation, obviously, is another really, really good one. I use the Natural Cycles app, have done it for years. I used it to stop me getting pregnant, and then I switched it to trying to conceive. So it kind of like, yeah. Also, I've heard a lot of people recently getting pregnant knowing from their Oura ring, because their temperature goes up and down. I don't know too much about Oura rings, but that could be another good thing to look into. Next question is, did you know it was the right time to try for a baby? Quite honestly, not really. I don't really know if there's ever a right time. I don't know if I would ever feel like 100% completely ready, but I just feel like, yeah, because there is never going to be a right time, and even everyone says to me, oh, there's never ever a right time. I was just like, you know what, let's just do it. And I knew that I was going to be with Jordan forever, and we're both such family orientated people. It was something that I've always known I've wanted to be a mum. I've always known I've wanted to have a baby before I was 30. Those of you who have followed me on here for ages, who've watched me on Made in Chelsea, you would have seen me say it 1,000 times, like how much I just love babies and want to be a mum. And you know, like, it's just been something, a dream of mine. I know this sounds so cliche, but I genuinely think this is what I was put on the earth to do. I've always had like an old soul. I'm always quite motherly, and I enjoy just looking after. And yeah, I can't wait to actually have my own to look after. And Jordan's just incredible with kids too. So yeah, he's also 5 years older than me, so I think that does help, because mentally he was kind of like ready too, and of an age where, you know, it was a perfect age to have a baby. We are more than capable of bringing a child into the world, and we just thought it was right. But I never knew a right time, if you know what I'm saying. if that makes any sense. Next question is, have you suffered from morning sickness? And I actually haven't. Did I wake up a few times in the middle of the night thinking I was going to throw up? Yes. I had a few wobbles, I think maybe 3 times, where I literally was like, I feel really, really sick, and a big wave came over me, but I just needed to eat food, and then it went, which is good. But I will say, first trimester girlies watching this, if you're watching it and you are throwing up and you are feeling like crap, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. I will admit, even though I wasn't throwing up, I didn't feel great. I have got a first trimester vlog if you haven't already seen it. I did feel rough as anything for quite a few weeks. I had good weeks, bad weeks. My symptoms did come and go as well. So for those of you, which I never knew, I didn't ever know that symptoms came and went. So that really panicked me, because I just assumed when I got pregnant, like I was gonna feel a certain type of way the whole way through. But some days I'd wake up and I wouldn't feel pregnant. And then other days I would feel like I've been hit by a literal bus. From about 14 weeks, I got my energy back. I felt like me again. The hormones, I think, had calmed down from raging. And yeah, I started to be motivated and want to work and actually want to do something. Whereas before that, I would have some weeks where I just was so unmotivated. I felt horrendous. I just wanted to lie on my sofa, eat Deliveroo and flick through TikTok. That's not me. I'm not that girly. Anyone who's known me for a long time or watched me for a long time, I love being busy. I hate slogging around, and for me to slog around, it was making me feel a bit down. I'm not gonna lie, obviously I was like, it's fine, I'm pregnant, I'm growing a baby, but it was making me feel down because I just didn't feel like myself. And then from about 12 weeks, 13 weeks, I felt a lot better in myself, and my energy came back, and yeah, I was motivated again. So if you are watching this and you're nearly, just ride those first trimester waves. I promise you it does get better. Obviously I know for some people it takes a little longer, or unfortunately for the few people out there, they are still ill the whole majority of their pregnancy, which is just obviously so annoying. And probably annoying to even watch this and say that I felt better at 14 weeks. So I do apologise if you are one of those people. Most people will feel better in your second trimester from like 13, 14 weeks. So hold on in there, girlies, and it's all worth it in the end. How did you get through the first trimester? I'm currently feeling so lonely. You know what? I so relate to this. I felt so lonely in the first trimester. The only thing that got me through was looking through first trimester vlogs. Not only was I really lonely because I hadn't spoken to anyone about it, because that was my own choice. I just didn't want to. Whereas, you know, there is nothing wrong with telling family, friends as soon as you find out. Personally, for me, I don't know why it was like a self-protecting thing. I didn't tell anyone, I think, until like 8-9 weeks. So for that, which is, if you think about it, 2 months, I felt really lonely, like I did. The only one, obviously I had Jordan, so that was good, but I just didn't have anyone to talk to about it. No one really understood what I was feeling because I couldn't speak to anyone about it. And what really helped me were watching videos, YouTube first trimester vlogs. They reassured me, they just made me feel less lonely. Already had a baby, I told her, and from that moment I did feel a lot better. So I do recommend just telling one person, just so you have someone just to talk to and message if you're feeling a certain type of way, because we've all been there. Well, a lot of women have been there. They understand, they know, and you won't understand the feeling until you're in it, if that makes sense. Until you've been pregnant and you're in your first trimester, you won't, I've never had, it's like a feeling like that I've had no other. It's very much a, yeah, isolated feeling and an anxious feeling, because it's something that you're so wanting, and it's just so unknown. So yeah, the first trimester is a mental battle for sure, and a physical one too. And hats off to women, to be honest with you, who get up every day and go into the office and commute. For me, I'm lucky enough I can sit in my, you know, my home and work, or if I want to nap on the sofa I can. But some people can't do that, and that I did think really like long and hard about this. I was like, that is crazy. That I don't even know how us women do it. How do we do it in our first trimester with a second baby? And you're feeling so unbelievably unwell. You've got your first child to look after and you're pregnant with your second or your third or your fourth. How the hell do you get up every morning? I actually asked my friend this and they were just like, you just have to do it. You have no choice. So you just do it. And I'm just thinking, God, like, wow. Women are very strong and incredible. Hats off to you ladies out there. I actually was thinking that anyone who gets severe morning sickness or really doesn't feel very well, there should be kind of some sort of thing that employees do for pregnant women in their first trimester, whether it's like work from home, or, which is hard because I know you don't want to tell anyone, or like sick pay or something that you should be able to get, because genuinely, like, it's not for the faint-hearted. It really isn't. Next one, do you know the gender, and if so, will you be revealing it? And we do know the gender. I found the gender out at 12 weeks, actually 13 weeks. I took it at 12 weeks and the results came back at 13 weeks. Actually, I found out at 14 weeks because I then sent the results to Jordan's sister. I didn't look at them and I just forwarded the email on to her and she checked through everything for me, and then we did a gender reveal when we were on holiday in Italy. So yes, we do know the gender, and I will be revealing it. I've got like a video and stuff that I need to post. But my first baby, I've done like reaction video, gender reveal, I'm doing a baby shower, and I won't lie, like I'm fully rinsing it. And I just think, you know what, I won't do this for my second or my third. So for the first, we're getting the full shebang. When are you due? How many weeks are you? So I am currently, I actually have no idea. I'm 22 weeks, I think. I'm 22 and a half weeks pregnant. So I am due very early next year. I won't give you the exact date because I kind of want to keep some things private. A Capricorn baby. I've actually smashed the timings on being pregnant. It is perfect because when I'm in like the last few weeks, it's going to be Christmas. I'm just going to be with family, wearing big clothes, and just, you know, I'm not going to have FOMO. And when I have the baby, it's January, so no one does anything anyway, and I'm just going to be cozying up inside and probably won't want to leave my house because it's dark and wet and damp. So in that sense, being pregnant, when I'm falling pregnant conceiving in April and giving birth in January is a really good time. I haven't been heavily pregnant in summer either, so I've like been completely fine. One thing I will say though, it is a terrible birthday. The poor child is, firstly, a lot of people are going to be not interested in their birthday at all. Because it is in January and everyone is over everything by then. Lots of people do dry Jan, so when it gets older, none of its friends will be drinking. And they call them sale babies because everyone buys them sale presents from the sales, because obviously January sales, which I find really sad, but we can make it cute. I also know so many lovely people born in January too, my granddad being one of them. So, and two of my really close friends are January babies and they're just like the nicest people ever. Will you be stepping back from MIC whilst pregnant? And the answer is yes. I told Made in Chelsea that I won't be doing the series that's coming out now. I was umming and ahhing about doing it, but I had a long hard think and I just thought to myself, I just have so much else, like so much going on at the minute, like the dramas and everything, and a lot of my friends have my main friends have left the show now, and I have loved doing that show. That show is honestly, it's iconic. It's just the best show, and I felt myself becoming less interested, being honest and real, and I almost felt myself literally just doing it for the wrong reasons. Not the reasons where I used to do it. I used to do it because I enjoyed it and I loved it. And I felt myself the last series just not doing it for the right reasons. Yeah, I felt myself just doing it for the wrong reasons. And it becomes unauthentic then, and that's not me. I'm an authentic girly. I like being true to myself, and you know, when you're pregnant, you kind of have this like sense of, you know, the dramas and stuff. I just don't need to be getting involved in them and stressing myself out and, you know, being a gobby cow really, whilst being pregnant. So I've taken a step back. I have said to them, like, I do really enjoy doing TV, so if there's anything that comes up in the future that is more fitting to me and kind of like my era that I'm in now, and I have just outgrown the show, sadly. It's the best show, but I'm not in the drama era anymore. Who knows, I'd love to still do TV. If there's anything that comes up that's more kind of my vibe or my era, which I'm now entering, then I would definitely be keen to continue with doing TV, as I do really enjoy doing it. Will you have the baby before the wedding? And that is yes. Decided we're going to have the wedding in 2024. So we're going to have next year just me, Jordan and the baby, and kind of just adapting to motherhood and just enjoying it without stresses of doing a wedding. Also in terms of like how I'm feeling and being self-conscious, I want to obviously look my best, and postpartum, you know, it's a journey. Will you be staying in London or moving house? And we are going to be staying in London for a bit. We aren't going to move house, we're still just renting, but we really enjoy this property that we're in at the moment. We absolutely love it, and there's definitely enough space for me, Jordan and a baby here. I'm not, annoyingly, I have a spare room, but I'm not going to be making it into a nursery because I'm going to want to keep that for a spare room. It's like a guest room with also all my clothes in, and I want to keep the guest room purely because then I can have my mum, my dad, whoever it may be, come over and stay and help with the baby, aka a babysitting quarters upstairs. So that's kind of like my plan of action. Also, we kind of, I don't need one. Like, the baby's going to be in our room for, you know, a good few months, for the first, well, probably for six months, maybe even a bit longer. And then obviously I'll adjust this room a little bit. There's plenty of room in here, so I'll have like a lovely changing area and a bit of wardrobe space there with like hangers and stuff with all of its clothes in. So yeah, we've got room. There's just no need for us to move, as we love where we are anyway. How many weeks were you when you felt your bump pop? To be honest, I think I was about, see, I could feel my bump. I noticed a difference from like 16 weeks, I'd say, and then it really kind of popped the last 3 weeks. So from like 20 weeks, yeah, it's really kind of popping now. I will show you quickly. It took me a while to look pregnant, but I'm definitely getting there now, which is oh my god, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm not gonna lie, I have eaten everything bar raw meat, uncooked fish. So raw fish, raw meat. I've eaten nothing raw, nothing that could give me food poisoning. I also haven't had a drop of alcohol. There was a few things on my question box being like, oh, you were holding a glass of champagne like 4 weeks ago with your engagement. It's like, yeah, but I obviously didn't drink that. It's just for me to hold because, we toasted and then I had to give it to Jordan. I haven't had a sip of alcohol since the day I found out, which was the day after I was due my period. So yeah, I literally have not had a sip, and that is purely because some people do drink throughout their pregnancy. Like, I know friends who have had the odd glass of wine here and there, but my God, the first bit I did not fancy a drop of alcohol. Now I could quite easily, if I wasn't pregnant, oh, the smell of wine, I'm like, oh, delightful, cannot wait for that in Jan, well, Feb. And then, but for me, it's like, what is the point in even having a sip or one, because I'm just gonna want more, and I can't have that. So I'm just like, no. And it's a perfect excuse for me just to have 10 months, which, by the way, pregnancy is 10 months, not 9. But it's the perfect way for me just to have 10 months of no alcohol and just, yeah, I feel good for it. The annoying bit is at the beginning in your first trimester, you don't feel good for it. You wake up feeling hungover, like you'd sunk 3 bottles of wine the night before. And you're kind of like, I used to be furious. I was like, I'd wake up and be like, oh, I didn't even get to have a drink and I'm so hungover. But I obviously wasn't hungover. And this is the final question. Have you got a birthing plan sorted? The answer is yes-ish. I am going to have an elective C-section because that is just something I've kind of always wanted. For me, I'm just like, my mum had 2 cesareans. I really just believe that that is just the safest way for me personally. Haters don't hate. For me personally to give birth, like I feel like mentally prepared because I have a date that it's happening. Every person I've spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of people who have had both, so they've given birth to one of their babies but then had to have a C-section on the second one or the third one. I've said, okay, if you were to pick again, what would you do? And I promise you now, there has not been one person that has said to me, oh, I would do a vaginal birth again. They all say C-section. So that for me just kind of like made my mind up. I was like, oh, fair enough. People do just seem to prefer it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. That is what I'm aiming to do, an elective C-section. And no, it is not too posh to push because they are cutting through 8 layers of your skin. And the recovery is not for the faint-hearted. I've seen friends go through it multiple times before. It is awful, but again, just so worth it. And you know, I'm lucky I'll have Jordan, I'll have my mum, so yeah. And everyone's like, you can't drive for 6 weeks. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere anyway. I am not leaving my front door in January. I am not leaving the house. I will be walking every now and then, but I will not be needing to drive anywhere anyway. So that also just, it does not bother me. I'm gonna wrap this up now because I feel like I've been waffling for God knows how long. But I hope you have enjoyed this pregnancy Q&A. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will be bringing lots more content to you guys very, very soon.